What's going on, everybody? SeanPierce Johnson here. Welcome to a very unusual, very slapdash thrown together episode of Stompbox Saturday, because guess what? It's NAMM week, and Jason McNamara, who I haven't seen since GitCon 2017, no wait, NAMM 2020.
Yes, NAMM 2020.
Whoa! See, this is the weird thing. It's been 2.5 years, and I've forgotten so many things. But anyway, Jason is here because we have something very cool from Black Country Customs, which we know is like, okay, it's a cool pedal company, but it's connected to a very legendary and very much loved amp brand in Laney Amplification. And Jason here, you are the new US market artist relations guy.
Correct. That is my job.
Before we actually unbox this thing and then we'll play it and we'll talk about it, you have been involved in guitar stuff for a long time.
I'm now 50. I got my first guitar shop job when I was 17. I did my school work experience at a guitar shop, actually.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. School work experience. Like, he got work experience to graduate school. Why can't we have that here in the States? But we won't talk politics here.
You don't do work experience here.
No. I mean, at least not at the schools that I went to.
So you get, like, in Australia, it's a very common thing. You get, like, a 1-week placement where instead of going to school, when you're in, like, a more senior year, you go to a workplace. There's usually a family friend or whatever. You can just go up to a place and say, hey, I'm doing my high school work experience. And you go there and you do basically volunteering for a week and you just get experience in an industry.
All right. Awesome. When you've been involved in the guitar industry pretty much ever since.
Yep.
And so now you're with Laney, which is pretty cool because we've seen a lot of newer stuff coming out of Laney. I would say within the last 5 years, it really kind of feels like the brand is experiencing, from the outsider's perspective, a bit of a renaissance. And now, pedals, which I have seen some of the Black Country Custom stuff, but this, we were talking before camera starts rolling, and this is going to be pretty special. Why don't you tell the folks at home, while I get the plastic wrapping off, what exactly this thing is going to be?
So this thing is the TDE, which stands for The Difference Engine. It's a delay pedal, but it's not your average delay pedal.
It's a delay pedal, but it's not your average delay pedal.
So this covers 3 main eras of delay. Those 3 main eras are the space echoes, so we're talking like back to the old Roland tape echo machines, like the RE501.
Which is very hot this year.
Oh yes, because of the reissue.
Yes, of course.
But that's inside of this box, and this has, like a tape echo does, it has 3 heads. Even in a digital format, it has 3 heads running, because the different heads are further away from where the actual sound comes through. And so you get a different delay position depending, and you can mix them up and have multiple heads running or singular heads running, or however you want to do it.
And then in addition to the tape, what else do we have?
We also have a digital delay based on the 79 era of like when digital delays first came out, like the Korg SDD 3000.
Just look at this, guys. The level of detail and customization to this packaging is already kind of like a treat for the eyes.
It is.
So we have that tape, we have the early digital,
and then we have dynamic delay, which is like for all you John Petrucci fans out there, well, he's a big fan of the TC-2290. Oh yeah, it's sexy.
You just finish explaining and then we'll take it out.
So the TC-2290 is a classic digital, dynamic delay, and that has delay ducking. Delay ducking is basically where you play and the delay signal sort of hides underneath your sound rather than sort of being too overt, among other things.
So we have essentially a sort of late 60s, a late 70s, and then sort of a mid 80s kind of thing, which, hey, nostalgia's all the rage right now. But guys, oh my God. Just, if I'm not able to get a good enough shot of it in this light, I'll fly in some B-roll right now. But this is just special.
Attention to detail has been put into every aspect of this pedal. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah.
And the big thing, it's made in the UK.
Oh, okay.
So we actually have a custom plant in the Laney factory, which is exactly the Black Country Custom. So for those of you who maybe know the band Black Country Communion, which is Jason Bonham, son of John Bonham, Joe Bonamassa, Glenn Hughes, and Derek Sherinian from Dream Theater and Sons of Apollo fame, both Jason Bonham and his father John, of course, as well as Glenn Hughes, are from the Black Country, which is an area around Birmingham and surrounding areas of the UK.
There's so much going on with this. I'm going to give you guys just a brief little thing of what I'm seeing right here. Simple controls on the front of the pedal, a couple buttons that seem like they'll be pretty self-explanatory once we get into the deep editing features. We have an on and off foot switch, a tap tempo, freeze foot switch. There's stereo ins, stereo outs. There's an expression pedal jack. It has MIDI in and out on the top of the enclosure. So Black Country Customs, from my perspective, has kind of leaned towards the classic things to get the brand started. This is sort of upping the ante for you guys.
Big time.
All right.
Now, one cool thing about this, the edit knob is actually completely continuous. And it also has a confirm button, so to speak, an enter button on there.
Okay. I think we should probably just stop talking, plug this thing in, and just get some idea of what we can expect. We'll probably just stick to presets, but
by all means, yeah.
We might as well just have some fun with this. So why don't I go ahead and cut here, and let's go over to the pedal cam. Okay, here we are. We've got the difference engine plugged in. I'm just running it in mono through my Boss TAE's effects loop because that's really the way that I will play most all the time. And I've also got an expression pedal plugged in because there might be some fun stuff for us to get up to later.
There's a lot of fun stuff to do with that.
All right, so what are we looking at here?
So straight up, we're on a digital preset right now. Straight up 500 milliseconds, just give it a play.
All right. Did you hear that?
That's the expression pedal. Now, we've got a few mode ways that we can do things here. So right now, straight out of the box, these buttons will actually do up-down controls to being able to change patches. So you can see right now we're on patch number 100 because there are 100 presets in here. If we hit the up button, we straight up go to patch number 1. Now, this is an analog tape delay. The H1 here means that this is running on the first head, because as some people out there who own vintage gear like this would know, that with a Space Echo, essentially it was a tape running, an actual physical tape, and it had multiple heads, and at different points within the stretching of the tape, you would get a different delay length. So this is on head number 1 right now. Now, by hitting the edit button, I give myself the ability to adjust the time. And by hitting it multiple times, you see there how you're getting different control spaces. So I can actually control it by ones. I can control it by tens. I can even control it by hundreds.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
So very fast to be able to get through your changing of time. Now, with a tape echo, the higher the number, because it's actually doing, the stretching of the tape is actually not per second, it's actually per inch.
Interesting.
Right? So the higher the number, the faster it is.
Okay.
So just go, give it a... So it's super fast right
That's
now.
bathroom tile.
But if I drop it down... do your expression pedal. I'll go over here, I'll go 150 here. So what that is if you're using the real genuine machine from back in the day, you would basically make the tape go further away from the original play source, and that's how you get that effect in there.
Interesting. Okay, obviously this is a digital pedal, because how can you fit so much into a digital pedal like this? But that's one of my favorite things, if you're able to replicate, is getting that little pitch bend. And the best part is it doesn't feel like it carries out in such an incredibly... incredibly cacophonous way. Like it happens very quickly, it happens very musically, and then kind of starts morphing back into the sound that you put in.
It's not obtrusive over your playing. It's a beautiful effect that really slides in there well.
Right.
Now, you can also, within this thing here, so you've got, say, for example, a feature that you don't normally have within an analog pedal like that, or actually, for that matter, they were a box, as you know, right? The original ones were boxes. You can hit the mode button here, and now this is changing it into live mode. So what this gives us is this actually gives us tap tempo.
There you go.
On those analog sounds. So we can go... Or... trying to do it fast. So you can hear what your drummer's counting in.
Yeah.
You can tap tempo along with an analog tone. So 40 is the slowest speed.
I love the way that like I said, that speed up and slow down happens in a very musical fashion where we get that pitch bend, but we were also getting some sort of nice modulation effect out of that really just kind of blended itself well into the overall sound. Again, it really doesn't get in the way.
Not at all. Now, the other thing is you've also got MIDI, as you mentioned earlier. MIDI can be used for a number of features on here. Now, obviously, we don't have a MIDI pedal set up right now. And you could use MIDI, say, with a foot controller. You could use it in a row with a bunch of racks. You could use it even from sequencing. So if you're using, say, a band situation where you've got backing tracks that are programmed, whether they're going through a laptop or going through straight out of a synth, which is my personal way of doing it.
Right.
I like taking my synth with me because I'm a keyboard player as well as a guitarist. And that way I've got all my sounds and all my program in the one unit rather than having to take a laptop for that. That's just me. And somebody else out there might be doing it, which is why I mention it. But you can, say, control any one of the functions that's in here via control change numbers, or CC numbers as they're known. And then you've also got PC numbers, which is patch change. So you can actually change patches on the fly through programming with MIDI or through using a stomp, which you could route MIDI changes to anything on your setup, as well as if you've got, say, like, for example, there was a Behringer board that was out, I think it was called the FC1010 or something like that, that actually had two...
expression pedal
controllers.
Controllers.
So you can have various controllers to be able to control various things, all going through the MIDI.
Very nice.
Right.
Let's check out some more of these presets, because that was a lot of fun. But I know a lot of people that are into the nostalgia, like session guitar tones, and that's kind of one thing that I'm into. Can we check out one of those early digital?
Yep, so there you go. So this is called Summer's Moon, inspired by Andy Summers.
Hold on a second. That's kind of going for that walking on the moon delay, isn't it? This preset, just as an aside, really illustrates in a great way how effective a good sounding digital delay with not a whole lot of repeats can actually be. It's something that I've learned in my years playing live in band context and also working in the studio. The studio, you can get away with a bit more wet effects than you can in the live market, but in the live realm, it's very hard to have these super washy ambient sounds because eventually it all gets lost in the environment. But that right there, just isolated in my space, I can tell is going to be something that if you want a good delay that will accentuate the part that you're playing, because it only has just a couple different repeats, and because of the tonality of it being slightly more of a vintage digital, it will meld with the guitar's sound that you're creating, but it's not going to stick out, and it will be far more effective than, say, like cranking the repeats up to get like tick 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 tick. You're going away, having a bite, and then
coming back and it's still doing it.
Hold on a second. Hold on. And the repeats give a little warble.
You're almost getting a chorusy kind of a feeling just out of the delay.
Exactly.
And we're going straight into your amp. So Simon Fraser Clark, who is our product manager, he owns all of this old original rack gear. Like he's got gear that, like, when the celebrity musicians come to town back in Birmingham, where the factory is, Simon lives a little bit out of Birmingham, but they all love going over to his house and just checking out the original gear. So we're talking about a guy who's like in his mid-50s, who's been doing this his entire life. He's been working at Laney for 27 years.
Wow.
Right? And he's literally got thousands and thousands of research hours into this. And what he's done is he's taken the abilities of all that classic gear. I mean, we're talking like Eventide H3000s. We're talking the original Space Echoes, as I mentioned, the TC2290, which is in the dynamic delays, and various inspirations like that have all come into this for what it is, a very small form factor, because as we know, real estate on a pedal board these days is at a premium.
Of course.
And for those guys who like to use genuine original pedals rather than just going the Axe Effects route and the Kemper route, which is a great route for some people, but there are plenty of people who like to stay true.
Oh yeah.
This is a great option because 2 buttons right there, dials on the face, expression pedal, MIDI, stereo in and stereo out, which can't be overstated enough. Because when you run out of a beautiful chorus pedal and get this sweet swirling chorus, because you might have like a wet dry wet situation, or you might just use stereo or what have you, to lose that stereo to go into most delays, which would then go mono in and stereo out, it's like, where the hell do I fit this sound?
Right.
With this, the applications are insane, because even someone, say for example, who's a monitor engineer, who's responsible for some of the effects, or someone who's a studio guy that wants to have all these abilities to put onto vocals, onto saxophones, onto a bus send, onto whatever, stereo in, stereo out. A singer, for example, who has their wireless mic set up, can go into here, can go stereo out, and get stereo spread front of house. Because let's say, like, for example, I remember seeing Jeff Scott Soto singing with the Sons of Apollo, and he was doing the middle a cappella section of the Prophets song by Queen from Night of the Opera. And he had stereo ping pong delays, so when he was doing it, it was following him, and it was, you could do that with this pedal instead of having this rack gear that has to go with you everywhere. Chuck that in your bag, can cover so many people in so many applications.
One thing I want to do, we are going to El Distorto, because I just have to hear it.
The name.
If you didn't notice, I kind of caught something when he changed the preset, because this is the BRIANROCKS. It's the Brighton Rock thing, so you kind of have to go with that
the big thing? That patch was made by Brian May and his guitar tech. They made that for us for this pedal.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that. We had to set up something stereo. So now we're going out into my orange and the Hughes and Kettner in stereo, panning them hard left and hard right.
Before you play, just quick thing I need to mention. The first 50 patches on this thing are mono. So there is a BRIANROCKS. The sound that we came up before was patch number 7. That's a mono patch. But when you go up to number 51 through to 61, they're stereo.
So that's actually really cool. The fact that most stereo delays, they kind of like, oh, well, we always want you to play in stereo, but you guys have gone to the trouble to say like, hey, these are the sounds that we think are cool in mono, and then they're mirrored in stereo, so that no matter what way you like to play, you have those sounds that you can then call up no matter your setup.
Take a punt why we did that.
Probably for the same reason that I would expect you guys to do, and that's that some guys often get the luxury of playing stereo and other guys don't. And it's like, if you're going to be working with guys like Brian May to come up with these sounds, there's probably a chance that they don't want people to think that the sounds that they came up with sucked.
Yes, but no. The main reason is because the people that, when they go to try this in a store, they're not going to get a stereo setup in store. So we made it nice and simple so that when you scroll through your patches, you got them ready to go.
Well,
anyway,
let's see what we can do with this. Wow, that's cool. And because the two different amps have these two different sounds from their speaker set differently, even though we're using the same distortion pedal to drive both of them, having those two different sounds is it's a very fun experience that everybody owes it to themselves to actually try out.
hell yeah.
Let's try a couple more presets. Call up something you think would be fun.
Let's go something on stereo.
All right. Wraparound.
Now this is digital, so give that expression pedal a slide.
Oh. You got that little bit of warble in there that's like, allow me to make my own modulation, will you? I like the way that plays. And notice the way that it starts to fade into its pitch. It doesn't do it in a way that is obnoxious. It does it in a way that's very smooth, very musical, very fun.
Now here's another cool thing. If we actually push down both buttons at the same time, we can change the preset. So you can do this by going from preset mode via the mode button here to go into live mode. But you can also, when you're on stage, if you don't want to bend down on stage and do that, just hit both buttons at the same time, and that changes you over to live mode as well.
Very nice.
Now when you're in live mode here, I'm going to use the freeze function. You can see here we got FR for freeze. Now what the freeze does is it's a little mini sampler. So if you just make a little something there, like just do a staccato hit one time.
Okay.
Check the time.
Oh, turn your volume knob up, Sean.
Right. So play something within that time, just like a little simple thing.
Give me my little Cliffs of Dover intro moment there. Let's see, what more can we do?
Yep.
Now that I've gotten a little bit of hang of things.
So let's go up another preset here. Try this one.
Siren stereo. Ooh, one of those is like really fast and obnoxious, but the other is... Oh, get that. That makes you want to shake yourself there. That's fun. Long ponger. Uh-oh. Hold on. That's an interesting one. That is an interesting one.
This is the beautiful thing about this pedal. You notice the way that while you were playing, the delays didn't sort of go over top of your original playing. It allowed you to still hear your original notes.
Let's keep cycling through a few more. Psychoacoustic. I don't know if I can handle. Oh, I like the sound of ghost dancing. Let's see what that does. That's fun. That's fun. Let's see what else.
Oh, now, this is... Do you know how to play Let's Dance by David Bowie?
I wish I did.
Because this is that tone.
This is the...
Exactly.
I can cop.
Yeah, that's right.
I can cop.
You got the rhythm.
That was quite nice.
Now this one here, just give it a staccato hit. You know what that sounds from?
Well, it says dream scene. Is it a scene from a memory?
No, it's not a Dream Theater.
No, it's not a Dream Theater thing.
The name doesn't really give away what it is, but hit it again and listen to the delay. Just go like diddle 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 on a D.
Whoa.
That's the Dave Gilmour sound.
Uh-oh. Oh yeah, it's definitely got that wall and pushing into the 80s and 90s Floyd delay sound. That's cool. But one thing that I do want to point out that I think is cool with the screen readout is, especially in stereo, like having that ability, as you had mentioned earlier, the different changes of the delay times. But one of the things that I think this will be cool for with any of you that want to pick one of these up is learning this sort of like time relationship between the left and the right mix. And not only that, just being able to see and start to kind of familiarize yourself with the idea of what a certain speed of delay time is going to achieve for you. A lot of times, like we're used to when we get our first delay pedals, it's probably the Boss DD3, and it probably should be. It's a classic at this point. But even like simple analog delays, you've got a time knob or a repeat rate control that's not really giving you an idea of what the sense of time is. You more just so have to feel it. And although music should certainly go off the feel of it and what kind of emotional response you're getting from it, sometimes you do come into contact with situations where you need that surgical kind of adjustment. And being able to have a really simple readout on the screen at all times is a really, really cool thing, and something that I think you guys should be given a lot of credit for.
Well, this is crazy, this sound. There's a certain amount of stigma against being an educated musician. and I think that's a cop-out, because I think being an educated musician is very important.
Yes.
I did want to go, when you had this particular sound here, just to show you, these on pedal analog controls are very, very important, because you don't have to dive through menus. So, for example, you can adjust the color of your delay. So can you give us a staccato hit once again?
Sure.
So let's go through the mix here, for example. And the fact that it's right there and it's so easy to see, you can never get lost on stage.
And then again, like that readout showing you the percentage, like that just 1% increment change can oftentimes mean the difference between putting it to tape or hard disk or just not using it at all.
Correct. So if we go through, say, for example, the color here, do us a staccato hit again of a chord. That's like a warble on this one.
Yeah.
right? And you can get a variety of things out of this. Also, the tonality of the actual repeats. If you play again now while it's low on like 4%, now I'll increase it really high. So it's extremely bright now.
Right.
So you can really mold everything you want right there on the pedal. So if you want a dark sound out of your delay, you just drop the tone down. If you want a super bright, so that way you literally have a replication of exactly what came in comes out.
Yeah, and the best part about just doing it, especially that extreme sweep, is that both of those sounds are usable.
Correct.
The highest and the brightest that it can be for that particular sound is not so high and bright that it splits your ears, and even at its darkest setting, it's not so dark where it gets murky.
Correct. And then your repeats are pretty straightforward. I mean, you know, repeats are repeats. So you can go into self-oscillation mode, which you could have put through the expression pedal if you wanted to as well.
Our sound designer friends watching will have a lot of fun with that one.
Yeah, they will.
So these are always able to be accessed no matter the
Correct.
preset. You don't need to go into live mode. You don't need to go necessarily into it just, you can do it as is.
It's right there. And if you want to deep dive, you can go through menus and do more things as well.
Let's do some quick playing examples with some of these other presets that sound kind of fun.
This is crazy. Your face. It'll keep going. That was Simon's happy accident.
That's something that should be on flexible.
Menu here, and we go into, say, the settings, and we go into expression pedal, we can simply, and of course just being able to hit the enter button on top of the edit controller is fantastic. So we can go into here and we can say, for example, change the mode from time to repeats, color, nothing, volume, trails. So for example, we could adjust the repeats via your foot.
Maybe not.
No, we can. Maybe we need to increase the amount of... Oops, go backwards. Increase the amount of repeats that are on there as a possibility.
There we go. Let's keep it there. There we go. Wow.
Back into the menu, go into settings, go into expression pedal, go into the mode, and change this now to be in color. Have a listen to what this will give you.
All right.
So if we go, I've set the expression pedal now to color, but if I actually increase the color on here, opening up the possibilities of color, when you do it with your foot, it'll be accessible. So the color is essentially modulation on your repeats.
Interesting. And you can actually, as I started to throw the expression pedal forward, you could feel it start to come to the forefront.
Yeah, it's like a chorus just on the repeat itself.
Never thought you'd do modulation swells, did you?
Yeah, there you go.
Let's check out a couple more. Let's see. Let's go. That guy.
This is a default patch. Let's go back down the other end a bit.
Yeah. So these will be probably the mono presets.
Yes, they are, yes. Oh. Iommi Heaven.
Uh-oh.
This is probably Heaven and Hell by Black Sabbath.
I want to know if you guys heard what I heard. When I did the sustained chords, those echoes stayed out of the way. And then when I stopped playing, here come the echoes.
And that, kids, is called ducking. With a D. Ducking.
Yes.
That's what it is.
The auto-corrected version.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Don't you hate that when you try to write on your iPhone and it always comes up with ducking? I didn't want to say ducking.
Nobody wants to say that. Unless you're an audio nerd.
Yeah, in this case, yes, you want to say ducking. Have you ever played Heaven and Hell before?
No.
So much like Brian May doing Brighton Rock, Tony did a similar kind of a thing with his delay on the solos of Heaven and Hell. So it's just in D minor, and he just did lines like that, and that's the exact tone. So that sound there was actually programmed with Tony Iommi and his tech in the room with Simon.
There you go. So we've talked about this, we've heard some stuff, we've messed around, and we've had a blast. We really have. And I know since this is a new NAMM release, I have to ask the traditional NAMM coverage question. When is this going to be available, and how much is it going to be?
So, the release is actually the first day of NAMM, which is this coming Friday, which is June 3rd, for those of you watching this later, June 3rd, 2022. Very unusual to have NAMM in June.
Yeah, it is a little unusual, but we're here.
Correct, we are indeed. And the price? I actually don't know. I'll be editing this video and I'll put it on screen right now.
There we go. Wow, look at that price.
Keep in mind, this pedal is not only designed in the UK, it's actually built in the UK. So Black Country Customs is our custom shop factory. As I think I might have mentioned earlier in the video. I can't remember if we said that off camera before we got on video. But yes, this is actually truly made in the UK.
Very cool.
So there you go.
It's really cool to see this as part of Laney's new offerings. Like I said earlier, it definitely seems like with Black Country Customs and what the company is doing right now in terms of amps and like different players coming on with the brand, it seems like it's definitely in a renaissance period, and I'm really looking forward to seeing, now that somebody I know works at the company, perhaps we might see some Laney stuff in the near future. Thought bubble appears between the two heads, as if to say, there might be something going on here.
You might be able to make that happen. You never know.
Well, buddy, thanks so much for coming by. It's great.
Love catching up.
Man, it's great to have you here. It's great to finally see people after 2.5 years of no NAMMs happening. NAMM is finally happening, and we're so excited. New pedals are coming up. If you enjoyed this, I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Please do leave a comment in the comment section below. And if you have any questions, hopefully by the time this video goes up, we both will have a little bit more answers to give to you. But with this new NAMM release, we just had to throw something together so that you guys would be able to see just the kind of cool stuff that companies are coming out with right now. But there's a couple ways that you can help support the channel and, of course, support what Jason is doing. First off, go check out Laney. Where can we go on the internet to find you guys?
Laney.co.uk.
All right, and be sure to click on the social handles. I'll make sure the links are in the description below. But please do give this video a thumbs up and a like. Share a link to it with a guitar playing friend of yours. Click that subscribe button, ring the notification bell. But I personally would love it. The best way to support the channel is to sign up for the email newsletter, where you will get all my videos delivered direct to your inbox. Click the card in the top right corner, enter this URL into your web browser of choice, or click the link down in the description box below. Thanking Jason again so much for coming down. I am SeanPierce Johnson for my good friend Jason McNamara and Laney Amplification. Thanking you all for watching. We will see you again in the future. Wishing you all great tone, great health, and of course, happy stomping. Cheers. It almost hit. Dang it.